What's the best championship in American sports? In terms of actually winning one, you'll have to ask Mahomes or Tate.
We did it!
But when it comes to which is the best experience, I consider myself an expert. Over the past 12 months, I went to every major championship in America. The Super Bowl, World Series, NBA Finals, and Stanley Cup. Here's my ranking.
Not so fast, my friend.
Warning, some of my rankings may upset you. In this video, I'm gonna break down which is the best and which is the worst. I've traveled over 11,000 miles to 4 different cities to answer this question for you guys. What is the best championship experience in America?
We're in Pantherland for Game 5 to bring home the cup.
We are absolutely buzzing to be at our first Stanley Cup game, and we're twice as excited because Lord Stanley was in the building. Outside the stadium was a sick setup. They had everything from drinks, Zambonis, blow-up hockey rinks, and even free cookies. We got to talking to some fans about the cup.
Do you think it's harder to win a cup or an NBA Finals?
I honestly think Stanley Cup, the sport of hockey, is harder than basketball.
You got 1 or 2 solid folks on that team, you can win. Hockey, you need full collaboration from 18 dudes, and it's way tougher.
And then asked about their secret rat tradition.
Melanie killed a rat in the Miami Arena. It was this dump of a place that we used to play in back in the day, but you know what? It was a lot of fun and we had a blast back then.
I took 20 bucks from the intern and secured my rat for the day.
Will you be throwing rats on the ice? Yeah? Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Appreciate it. After scanning our $1,000 tickets, we found the go-to pregame spot. A live band gets you out of the Florida heat and enjoying some drinks and music before the game. Jack Nicholas got the job of banging the drum for the Let's Go Panthers chants, and let's just say it was quite underwhelming.
Louder!
But when the puck was dropped, the Panthers, behind their home crowd, were all over the Oilers early. But then disaster struck. The Panthers, who were on the power play, let up a shorthanded goal, and the Oilers took an early 1-0 lead. Now, something that differentiates a championship experience from a regular season or even a playoff game is you don't want to miss the action. So it makes it tricky when you want to go to the team store and buy a jersey or get some food. The veteran move for a Stanley Cup playoff game is to leave with about 2 minutes left in the period. Now, I will say these jerseys are nice, but they're quite expensive. As we returned to our seats just 2 minutes into the second period, the Oilers had taken a 3-0 lead, which took a once very loud and crazy atmosphere to silent as a library. It was then time to hope that the Panthers could stage a comeback, but we had to get some food to fuel us up. The Panthers actually have some pretty unique food options, including this massive turkey leg and a freshly made pasta station. The turkey wasn't really good.
Not easy to chew, that's for sure.
But the pasta station is definitely worth checking out. It's going to rate very high in our food section. We got back into our seats to see if Panthers could make that comeback. And early in the third, they made a 1-goal game and the fans erupted. We finally got that pregame atmosphere back from the Gatos faithful. They did everything they could to find the fourth and tie it up, but with an empty net, it was of course Connor McDavid who ended it and had the fans quickly heading for the exits. Seeing Connor McDavid for the first time in person in the Stanley Cup putting up that performance was truly an experience I will never forget. Time to see where stop number 1 of our championship tour ranks out. Starting with fans and atmosphere, I give it a flat 7 out of 10. Honestly, seeing that much passion from a Florida fan base was kind of riveting. It wasn't their fault that they were losing pretty much the whole game, but they were ready to go. Food ended up at a 6.5. This was tough because the turkey leg was pretty much not worth it at all, but the pasta station, I actually was telling people about after the game. I would highly recommend it. My uniqueness score got a 7.6, and as you guys will see, championship, the floor is just going to be higher. But on top of that, the rat tradition of throwing rats on the ice at the end of a win is just amazing. The final category is a mix of city, stadium, pregame, and gameplay. That ended up with an 8.1. The city is not really Miami. It's actually Sunrise, Florida. Not much going on there. The gameplay, a 10 out of 10. Connor McDavid, 5 points, had an incredible play that I will literally never forget for the rest of my life. So now it's time to reveal our overall score for going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and it was a 7.4 out of 10. That's a high bar to start with, but we still have the Super Bowl, NBA Finals, and World Series to come. Make sure you smash that subscribe button because we're on a journey to 100K. Stop number 2 on our championship tour took us to Boston for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Earlier in the playoffs, we got to sit courtside in Boston. But given it was a blowout win over the Heat, we felt like there was more to come from the Celtic faithful. We also had exclusive access in Denver last year at the Finals, so we've got a nice measuring stick for what a good NBA Finals experience looks like. But with Kyrie returning to Boston, we couldn't wait to get inside for Game 1. The scene beforehand was an exciting one, but nothing out of control. I would say there was a mix of nervousness and excitement for Boston fans as they were coming off a sweep of Indiana, but they didn't look very dominant. Now, Dallas looked to be their biggest challenger to date with the best backcourt of all time. We got in early and saw Tatum getting warm, then a very nice tribute for one of the GOATs, Bill Walton, who had previously passed away. Then it was game time. Kyrie got announced for the first time of the series in front of the Boston faithful, and honestly, I was pretty underwhelmed with the boos.
From Duke, number 11, Kyrie.
Then it was time for their homegrown star, Jason Tatum, to be announced. And again, underwhelming noise for Deuce's dad. Is this Boston atmosphere going to be underwhelming again, but this time in the NBA Finals? Now, what's unique about all these championships, besides the Super Bowl, is that you can't win or lose the title in just one game. I think this can definitely affect the energy from the stadium and from the players on the teams. You just don't get that do or die feeling, and I think the ticket prices reflect that. The tip was off and the Celtics ran rampant. Kristaps was going off in his first game back from injury and the fans were loving it. The fans got into it with some "Let's Go Celtics" chants, and we got the beloved pop moment.
And Dallas right now going to his zone. Tatum, a contested three, it's good! Double them up!
TD Garden's food selection, I would say, is just good. Nothing special, but also nothing bad. We had some fish and chips that, according to Riley, were certified bomb. And then a slice of pizza that could feed a family of 4. The Celtics withstood a little bit of a run by Luka and the Mavs and closed out Game 1 to some encouraging "Let's Go Celtics" chants as the clock struck 0. We headed outside to join the celebrations, and this was easily the most lit part of the night. We had sweep chants ringing around Boston, we had "Let's Go Celtics" chants, and we had fans screaming their love for their savior, the unicorn himself, Kristaps Porzingis. But most of all, the Celtics fans let it be heard just how much they love Kyrie Irving.
Suck my Kyrie Irving!
Alright, now it's time for our NBA Finals Snapback experience score. Fans and atmosphere got an 8.1. I have to admit, the Boston faithful are out of control. They're incredible fans. They remind me of my Knicks. There were even reports that Kyrie Irving was distracted by the fans during Game 1. Next is food, which got a 7.1. The slice was honestly amazing and a really good value. Plus, fish and chips being tasty and delicious.
Bomb.
I would never really order fish at a stadium or an arena, but the fact that they were really good gives them a high score. Uniqueness also got a 7.1. All of these are going to get a bump due to the fact that they're championship games, but Boston's got this incredible pre-game setup with bars and different experiences. The final category got a 7.9. TD Garden is a really nice arena, and even though it's got all that history, it's been renovated and feels really fresh and new, which I think is really nice. The city of Boston is a really solid city, but when it comes to sports, they are a sports town through and through. And the gameplay, given that it was a Celtics NBA Finals game, had to be really, really high. They absolutely dominated the game, shot the crap out of the 3, which leads to the final score for the NBA Finals, a 7.73. The Super Bowl is the most unique experience out of the 4 for countless reasons. It's only one game, it's at a neutral site, and it's the only game that has a halftime performance by Usher. We actually were out in Vegas the entire week, going to events like opening night media, competing in a celebrity poker tournament, recording a podcast with Tyreek Hill, and more. But this video is about one thing and one thing only. The Sunday in Vegas, Chiefs vs 49ers. The pregame of the Super Bowl changes depending on location, but with it being in Vegas, you had countless options. Unfortunately, the intern got sick on Saturday. Imagine having a ticket to the big game, but having to watch the game from your hotel room with a 103 fever. The Super Bowl is all about the allure. From the price of the ticket to the cost of the commercials, our pregame party gave us the chance to meet a ton of celebrities. We met Austin Eckler, Bobby Flay, and Tommy Cutlets, aka Tommy DeVito. Then it was time to head to the big game.
We are about to have the time of our lives.
Once inside, you could feel the energy. That's what the Super Bowl is all about. If I had to describe it in one word, I'd call it buzz. After going through the heightened security, we made a veteran decision to eat right when we got in. We got a spicy chicken sandwich, and the intern's replacement gave his best go at a little food review.
One of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had in a stadium. The fries are hot. Shout out Clyde's.
We had some beautiful seats for the game, and the new Raiders Stadium is equally as beautiful. The teams got ready to go. The Super Bowl is definitely an event you don't want to show up just for kickoff. The national anthem and America the Beautiful continue to build that hype. And then kickoff. The feeling of kickoff is just so special. Unlike the rest of the championships, one play can literally determine the outcome of the game, of who is lifting the Lombardi trophy, and that feeling just sits on top of the game. The only way to start a game of this stature is with a trick play.
Double pass to Brock, to McCaffrey.
Another aspect of Super Bowl, which kind of comes down to your opinion, is this a good or a bad thing, is that you can't get up from your seat even for halftime. Usher's performance was good, not great. And with everyone reacting online, I will say this, it's definitely better in person. I mean, who wants to watch a concert on a TV screen? They're way better when you're with the crowd. The game itself went back and forth with both fan bases doing their best to make themselves heard. But the most interesting thing that you might not have expected about Super Bowl is that the fans and atmosphere are actually the worst of all four major championships. Not only is it a split crowd and not a home environment, the true diehard fans get priced out of the tickets with how expensive everything is. The combination of flights, hotels, and game tickets, with the fact that it was in Las Vegas for the first time, really lessens the atmosphere. Mahomes might be the new Brady, and you just knew he was going to get that field goal to push it to overtime. Then it was none other than Mecole Hardman to walk off the Super Bowl.
Wow, the game. I mean, maybe the best Super Bowl of all time.
To the official Snapback score we go. Fans and atmosphere got a 6.8. That buzz I talked about does carry a ton of weight in this score, but the fact that it's not a home game for anyone makes me think about what if they actually had a team host the Super Bowl. I went to the AFC Championship in Baltimore, and the fans and atmosphere at a home AFC Championship game blow the Super Bowl atmosphere out of the water. Food got a 5.5. Not only was it just average, but I'm just here dying for the Super Bowl food to be something separate than just using the food from the Raiders Stadium. Uniqueness got a 9.4. What more is there to say? You're at the freaking Super Bowl. 123 million people are watching around the world, and Taylor Swift and a ton of other A-list celebrities are literally in the building with you. Final category got a 9.6. Las Vegas as a host city for the Super Bowl, and I've been lucky enough to go to 5 Super Bowls, and man, viva Las Vegas. The pregame was probably the worst part of this category, but that's setting a high bar for the rest. The gameplay was a 10 out of 10. We literally saw a walk-off in the Super Bowl in overtime. This lands our final score at a 7.975. We'll round it up to an 8. That puts the Super Bowl in the lead with one championship to go. Our fourth and final stop of our championship tour took us to Phoenix, Arizona to see the Diamondbacks versus the Texas Rangers in Game 4 of the World Series. This one might have been the most special because we got to bring a Snapback Sports subscriber to the game. If that's not a reason to hit the subscribe button, I don't know what is. I mean, smash the subscribe button. I mean, like bang on that subscribe button. You could come to the World Series, the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals with us. Just subscribe. We're on the path to 100K. Walking into Chase Field, I was blown away with just how nice the indoor-outdoor concept was. We got very lucky with a beautiful day, and the roof was open for the game. America's pastime started off with a beautiful national anthem and a nice flyover, a major perk of the roof being open. Then it was time for Masters champion John Rahm to throw out the first pitch. You guys let me know in the comments whose first pitch was better. There's nothing better than a towel giveaway to get the atmosphere really bumping in there. Tanner, our Snapback fan member, wasn't the only one there, as Batman decided to join us for the game, as this game was being played on Halloween. Swear to me! The game got underway, and let me tell you, the difference between a regular season and a playoff baseball game is definitely the biggest in the core 4. The atmosphere just goes from a 4 to a straight 10 out of 10. That only lasted an inning though, as the Rangers went up 10-0 by just the third inning, which really did suck the life out of the fans. We took that 10-0 lead as an opportunity to go get some food. We decided to get the most expensive thing they were offering that night, which was a bacon jalapeno Philly fry helmet. It was fine, not really worth the price of the food, but if you were willing to eat everything or clean the helmet, you came home with this nice souvenir. The D-backs did their best attempt at a comeback, but we didn't stick around for it as we ran over to the Footprint Center to see second half of Wemby take on the Suns. We actually did it to film the first ever video on this channel if you want to check that out. Now for the Snapback experience score from the final stop on our championship tour. Fans and atmosphere got a 7 out of 10. You always have to take into account the score of the game. If you're down 10-0, it's tough for the fans to be rowdy, but before the game, they were absolutely jumping, sitting on every pitch, and cheering as loud as they possibly could. Food got a 6.4. As we said, the Fry helmet was just okay, but Chase Field actually had a bunch of really nice offerings around the stadium. Uniqueness gets a 6.9. Remember, this is a World Series game, so the score is going to be a little higher. And they've got a really cool downtown area, the Suns Arena right next door, but probably the most unique part of the whole thing is they actually have a pool in right field. I didn't go for a swim, so I can't bump it up to a 10 out of 10, but that's pretty cool to host the World Series and have a swimming party. Final category gets a 6.7. The city of Phoenix was solid. Chase Field is a really, really clean, nice stadium, and the gameplay obviously takes a tough hit given that it was a Diamondbacks home game and they got absolutely smacked. And thus, the final score from the World Series is a 6.79, a pretty good score, but definitely the lowest of the core four. So, to answer our question, what's the best championship in American sports? In third place was the Stanley Cup Finals in Florida. Coming in at number 2 was the NBA Finals in Boston, which leaves number 1, the best championship experience, the Super Bowl in Vegas. If you guys have been to any of these championships, feel free to sound off in the comments. Remember, this is our experience. This does not speak for everyone else. And I haven't been as lucky to experience a championship for my own in a very long time. I'm dying for one. So if you guys have watched your team win a championship, I would imagine that's a 10 out of 10 experience.